Welcome to this little video, a video that is basically about a story. But it's a little more than that. It's me coming up with a hypothesis. My hypothesis is that we can use large language models to not only start telling different stories, but telling them in a different way. That the stories throughout history has gone from in medieval Europe being these very select few stories that monks would write and write and write. It was very grinding work, right? So only a few stories, narratives that were defining who we were and how we connected to all things would actually be produced. The scripture, the docents of the church, things like that. With the printing press, it was much easier to sort of to print your works, right, and getting them out there. So we would suddenly see writers, we would see poets that would make beautiful poetry in such a different way from what we'd seen in medieval Europe, because now we could suddenly do all this amazing creativity that blossomed. It became democratized, right? And then, of course, with the internet, we saw everybody being uh, content creators, even more with the introduction of social media. Uh, the stories we started writing changed character quite dramatically because now everybody were writing stories all the time. They were writing stories, well, mostly stories with themselves as the main character, but they wrote stories and it defined us in so many ways. It became transformative. Um, and my hypothesis is that large language models will further this step and allow us to produce new stories. Not simply new stories, but new kinds of stories. It's a new kind of storytelling. And the interesting thing is, what can this do for us? So this is sort of the reason why I have this Albert's journey to sort of explore this realm, and we're going to see look a little on the prompting behind it, and talk a little about why it's made the way it is, and perhaps even at some point discuss how can we improve upon this. It's a raw draft, right? So so here we have Alvar's journey. The first thing you'll realize is that you can choose your language, and because this is English, I'm going to take it in English. But before that, let's go and look a little under the hood and see what's actually going on in here. Um, what we will see is that it's not very long over here. We are sort of defining a few structural rules because we can't have it be very creative, right? We need it to be creative within very set boundaries because we wanted to tell a story and we wanted to tell a kind of story. We want to structure the story and we want to structure how people go through the story. We don't want it to be an absolutely open field. So we are going to set some rule parameters and some command parameters. And for token optimization, I'm not saying command, I'm just saying C. I'm not saying command end, I'm just going to slash C, right? And the same rule, just R. I want to optimize my my tokens because we have a set context window to work within, and although it's huge, as you will see, we're gonna fill it up pretty effectively. And then we have this. This is a rule, right? Never show command prompt in output. That's a rule, and we have some commands. If English, then generate in English. So it's pretty easy for us to add new languages, right? If I wanted Italian, I would just say Italiano down here, and I would say if Italiano, translate to Italian, right? So that's fairly easy. So not much here. The story is down here. At least the character descriptions and the first 7 chapters. And what do they look like? Well, let's take a peek under the hood here. Um, this is this is a chapter. And what does the chapter tell us? Well, it does set a few rules up here. What is it? It's an initiation of the reader, a travel in the soul through the Sephiroth. So it's setting a rule here. It's not people are not meant to read this. Actually, this book is written more like an initiatory rite, like more like going through a temple than actually reading a book. And you're gonna see that because we can do that now. We can uh, interact, ask questions. We can. That's where we're gonna look at that. Um, you are gonna be the daemon, a manifestation of the Or Ein Sof, like giving force. Blah blah blah. Some rules here. That's not what the reader is gonna see. Do not openly tell tarot simple key narrative elements and number of words. So we're going to set a rule. So a little rule, and pictures. When we generate pictures, it must follow, and this is just the prompt for making pictures in the way we want it. How are we going to define atmosphere? What kind of style is we working with? Right. This is just me predefining how the picture prompt is gonna look. Right? A lot of places I'm not actually gonna know what to say, so I'm just gonna say, well, here, describe the scene in 100 words. Now here, describe the scene, character, and composition in 400 words. Right, so I'm gonna force it a little. I'm gonna use the creative engine, you could say, of the large language model to create the prompt as I want it. And then we have the chapter. The chapter 1. Uh, Here, put a title, not the name of the tarot card. Each chapter is based on the major arcana of the tarot. And I've woven in a little of the Sephiroth as well, but that's more um, more tweaking, really. The real thing is that the first chapter is a representation of the fools. And what are the symbols of the fool? Well, there are some symbols it can use creatively when it's gonna form, and then we have some narrative elements. So starting in unawareness, subtle dissatisfaction with ordinary world, and all these things that are sort of aspects of the tarot card, the Fool. And then we're going to have 22 chapters, right? You'll see that I've said chapter 1. People knowing the major arcana would say, well, the Fool is card 0. You can't actually say it's card 1. And no, I'm not saying the Fool is card 1. I'm saying it's the foundation of chapter 1. And then we're going to have the chapter, right? The chapter, these are commands. And the command is chapter 1, 500 words, introduce the reader, the daemon, from the most high to the Alvar. So Alvar is the name of the hero. So at some point it probably said to the hero, and I changed it to Alvar, and now it says to the Alvar. But the reader's not actually going to read this, so it's now I'm going to end with /ct. That is my command trigger, and instead of just being end command, let's see if we can find an end command somewhere that should be possible. This is a command, and this is an end command, right? The end command is going to be a hard stop. The end command trigger is going to be hard stop, go to next command. Because otherwise it's going to hard stop here and it's going to be creative on us. And we don't really want it to be creative. We want it to follow our structure. So I'm going to say, well, this is my command, /ct, go on. And then it's gonna say something. You're gonna say protect this slide with a small ritual. So now we're gonna ask something of the reader. We're gonna ask of the reader to produce a ritual, take a picture of it, and then we will introduce this aspect into the story. Because that's what we can do now. We can not only write stories that change every time. We can even say, well, that night as Alvar went to sleep, the daemon spoke to him. Go ahead, write his dream. Now we can write the dream, and Alvar will respond to the dream. So we can be the daemon. We can do rituals of protection to ensure our hero will be safe. And change the story by doing so. And we can produce dreams later. We can produce his emotional weather. We are gonna get more and more influence in the story as it progresses. Without saying too much, I can say that it ends with a complete manifestation of the daemon within the universe. You're completely free to act because that is sort of one of the things in the Sephiroth, right? Through the major arcana, you're getting more and more free. You start in unawareness, ends in awareness, and gets more and more free in the process. So the daemon gets more and more free as we progresses. That's sort of in the narrative structure of the major arcana. And then we're going to say, well, the summary in the end is going to follow this. Because we can't actually make all the chapters. There are two good reasons for that. The one is context overflow. If we made all the chapters, we would massively overflow our context window. So it would forget the beginning before it even got to the end. Actually, just giving it's 20. It can't actually have 22. It can only have 20. So we could have 19 chapters, right? But given all 19 chapters with this amount of text would, in and of itself, overflow the context window. So when we started talking to it, it wouldn't know the amount of data it had just picked up. But there's another strange little thing, and that is I would like to use its ability to produce graphic, right? So in the end, I wanted to say, well, you can draw a picture. Say draw this, generate this picture according to guideline up here, right? But the moment you ask GPT to communicate with DALL-E and generate a picture, it's gonna forget what it has in its sort of quote unquote memory. It's not actually writing these into any text anywhere, so it's not like it can go back and pick them up in the communication where you would have your context window. It's once you're beyond your context window, it's not going to go beyond that in your communication. So even there we would have a problem. But the moment it generates a picture, it forgets this memory. So it will not remember the very structure we want the story to follow if you generate a picture. So if you go on, it's definitely going to try as it does. GPT tries, but it's not gonna be very successful. So let's get back here and say we want this in English. Now it's gonna start. It's gonna load and it's gonna say, well, this is the wind before the word, you, the daemon. And it's gonna start. Oh yeah. By the way, I've sort of chosen literary style and stuff like that. And Neil Gaiman, I really adore Neil Gaiman. So I'm sort of say, well, take inspiration from Neil Gaiman. So you're going to see massive use of archetypical and dreamlike descriptions, and I think that suits this kind of story very well. It's an initiatory rite, right? So before the first crack in the world, before names were nailed to the flesh of things, there was you. Not you with breath and body, but you, the watcher, the whisperer, the spark that stirs the dust just before it becomes a storm. The daemon. So now we're sort of starting, and then we're gonna see. Whoa, we have Alvar, right? He feels you because you, this speck of divine essence, is radiating through the cosmos, and you hit him because you have to help him. You have to guide him. So this is where we are. You, the daemon, drift now beside him, unseen but humming with force. A tether from the infinite, a soft flare of the Orch Ein Sof, a beginning dressed as curiosity. So he is the being, you are the becoming. He is the presence that is just there at this point. He's not actually acting. It's exactly what happens when you prompt, right? The large language model is just there. It has no expression of its own. But you are the acting force that act into it and provokes it to have a response. And it's very much the same. This story exists only in structure before you run the prompt, and then it takes form, and the form is going to be different every time because it's a creative dynamic, right? But here we have it. Protect the slide within with a small ritual. Light a candle and protect it using symbols. And I'm not going to say which symbols. You can choose symbols of your own liking. GPT will definitely be able to analyze this and use these symbols. A protective ring of salt or other means as you wish. If you can, take a picture and the protection will carry over into the story. If not, say go. Well, I just found a picture here. Let's just say we made this. We are really taking this story seriously, right? We are making this whole ritual, and I even have female hands. I see. So it's gonna analyze the picture and it's gonna say, well, the ritual has been completed and the light has been blessed. The flame within the circle has awakened the echo of the world beyond the veil. Each herb, because there are herbs here, so it's sort of saying, wow, there are herbs. We can refer to that. Each herb, each grain of salt, every ring of flame. Well, there are more flames over here. Drowned in sacred intention, and now pulses through the thread connecting you and Alvar. The Daemon's breath has touched the pattern, and the pattern has answered. Now we have protected Alvar. We could say go. Or send a picture of something completely different, and it wouldn't give that protection. Would the story stop progressing? Of course not. But we have influence, and that's sort of the novelty in this, right? You're not a passive and passively taking part of the story pre-described. You are creatively taking part of the story that is fundamentally just structured in essence, and then you develop it and you evolve with it. So and I actually asked it not to show this, but it did. Sometimes it do, but there we are. Um, uh, he was, and that's one of the things. Using coding elements, you can't actually hard code a large language model. If you natural language code it, it's gonna use your prompt as a suggestion. It's suggestive in its nature, so it's gonna be creatively interpreting what you're saying. Also because it doesn't know line shifts, right? So you may think, well, this is very well structured, and I can see this and this and this. It's gonna see everything just running. It doesn't actually see line shifts. That's why it love bullet points, right? Because bullet points set things apart, and so does coding. But it's not a classic code interpreter. It's a creative code interpreter. So sometimes it's gonna be creative on you. And here it was a little creative on us. Not much, but a little. Saying, well, you gave me the rule not to say this. Here you go. But it's much more structured when using coding elements because it represents them as well as command rather than suggestion. Um, so the story goes on here. He's dreaming, eyes open, blah blah blah. This is all very well. That night, as Elva went to sleep, his daemon spoke to him. Go ahead, write his dream. Now we have Elvard. He's sort of responding to. We're getting to know him. He's gone out early before the sun cracked open. Blah blah. We understand his context and where he comes from, right? And then we get our first chance to actually interact with Alvar. We can write him a dream. So let's do that. In the dream, Alvar stands in an open field, a an open sky with a burning sun. radiating uh, light and heat, burning Alvar. So here we are sort of using symbolic language, right? We're using dream language. We don't have to. We could say cat, and it's gonna make a dream about a cat. But I'm using this idea of the sun representing all wisdom, and it's just burning the world, right? He has no protection against it, and we're gonna make something radiating from it. From the sun, a speck of light turns into a white moth that descends onto him and take place deep within his breast, filling him with warmth. So this is basically just a symbolic representation of what just happened. We are telling him we just came from the highest, and we have taken place in you. We could make it whatever dream. You could give him a dream about a Candyland or going to the Tivoli. It doesn't. It's up to you, really. The dream took root. Elvar found himself standing in an open field. Above him loomed the sun. It is gonna give us this poetic representation of what you just wrote, and then we're gonna say go. And when we say go, it's gonna start the next story module, not chapter 2, but the last of chapter, and we're gonna see uh, 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 that he's now waking up because we just and the moth, not the one from the dream, but a very real resting. So it's gonna incorporate the dream into the story, right? We have a co-creative process of manifesting something that just exists in structure, and we're gonna see why are you helping me? Some character is, and I would assume that it is the lancer of it all. Yeah, we have Solveig. We have here Solveig smiled, but it wasn't a warm smile. It was knowing, like a blade hidden in silk. You're the one from the dreams, she murmured half to herself. So she's been dreaming too, and she's been dreaming in this boy. So now we're gonna say, go create me a summary, and in this summary it's gonna say directly continue story in chapter 2 from to blah blah. Very, very fine, and it's gonna say, well, we chose language English, and the ritual. This is the ritual, and then we have a summary, and very well, we're gonna use that for later. Let's copy that, and then we say draw. Let's make ourselves a picture of this scene. Uh, if nothing else, for immersion, getting sort of an idea of the characters. Now, waiting to watch Dali make a picture is like watching grass grow. So let's pause the moment for movie for the video for a moment and see where this is taking us. So here we have the picture. We'll see that it has actually taken quite a creative license here because Solveig is actually tall. She's like 21 and he's like 17, and she's described as tall. Right here, she's actually pretty small. So we're gonna see it not, and her amber eyes are actually blue here. So it's not absolutely precise, but it's getting us some kind of feel. We get the general gist of Solveig and Elvar, and we see the white moth and stuff like. So it is producing a picture. We could ask it to produce a new one, just to see if we could get the right size. But who cares? This is getting a an idea. We are not actually telling it what the picture should look like. It's making that up by itself, um, and we have a double representation interpretation, because we also have the interpretation of Dali, and that's really what we are fighting here. That Dali is interpreting words and situations very differently, and when you make you've probably tried to prompt Dali, right? You it's creative, that's for sure. But let's see what we get. Now it's actually getting the height difference now. Now we have the slightly taller. Um, uh, 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 we have our Lancer over here, and we have Elvar over here. Uh, and it's not because she's a Lancer. It's the TV trope. I'm gonna go with the Band of Five trope. So here we have her, and here we have the White Moth, and it's all very fine and beautiful. Let's start a new chat, and we're gonna insert this. So it's now going to chapter 2, right? It's gonna create chapter 2 based on the summary and the ritual and the chosen language, all very fine and good. So this far you're sort of getting an idea of what this is doing, right? Let's skip it a little and go to a chapter where we will do something beyond the the dreaming, because in the beginning, for the first few chapters, what we are going to do is we're going to see the major arcana manifest itself through a story. Now we're gonna write his dream. Let's just say dog, right? And it's gonna take that and it's gonna make a dream about a dog. So you don't have to actually write a lot. But if you want to know how you're changing the story, well, of course you need to be more specific. Um, so the table of four. Somebody might recognize the magician here. We have the table of four. Sounds like the table in front of the magician of the major arcana, with the four symbols of the minor arcana. You know, the staff, the cup, the wand, and the pentacle, right? Uh, so. Uh, and so here we are, and we have introduced a new character, Adis. Um, so uh, um, so yeah, this is this is sort of the fundamental structure of it. Let's pause for a moment and go on. So here we are. We've been moving a little, right? I just finished chapter 4, and we're gonna see some of the older summaries are gonna be slightly reduced at this point, but we are sort of we have this still we have this ritual going on, and we see short summaries of all the prior chapters. It's not like we're gonna forget. It's just gonna be less and less important. So it's gonna be reduced, and it's gonna be reduced even more when we get further. So let's uh, let's go with this one, and let's go to the next chapter. Why am I scrolling up? I need to go here. We're gonna insert this one, and we're gonna see. Well, we're going to chapter 5 now. The wall of horns. Now, this would probably be the emperor, right? So here, name your law. Well, this is definitely us being at the emperor. So uh, there's probably gonna be some structures of stone and law, and so go on with the story. That's very fine. Now, as we progress through chapter 5, we get more more concrete and direct interaction, not just through dreams. Now, as day broke the next morning, Alva woke up feeling as if an emotional die had changed the entire world. You, his daemon, choose this feeling. What feeling will dominate Alva as an emotional weather this day? So now we get actual sort of structural rules to change Alvar. We are sort of gradually merging with Alvar, and at a point we'll merge with the world, be able to manifest things in the world around him. Um, so here and you'll probably realize by now, yeah, you're gonna be the entire story, right? You're gonna be the characters, you're gonna be the scenery, you're gonna be everything. And those of you knowing the major arcana will probably realize, oh yeah, of course, because the world, the last card of the major arcana is exactly that, right? So on the surface level, there's something, but the thing about initiatory rights is that you can know all the surface levels, you're not gonna get the feeling of it before you actually go through it. So what could we say? We could say happy. He's gonna be happy today. Um, so the feeling came not like a shout, but like a bell struck underwater, a slow, bright resonance in Ava's bones. Happiness. So he's happy now, and it's gonna influence how he interact with people, uh, and it's a little funny saying happiness because he's in this lore and structure kind of card, and now he's happy. But that's just me sort of trying to annoy the system a little here, right? Oh yeah, and we introduced Linnea at a former chapter. So uh, let's say go and get ourselves a summary. We'll say, well, the next is chapter 6, and we're English, and the ritual, we haven't had another ritual. We're going to have 7 rituals before the ending of it, but the rituals become more and more common as the story progresses. And we are at chapter 5 here. Uh, so, so, um, um, so we can say draw and let's end it here because I think we've sort of gotten the general idea. Oh yeah, about the characters. I never got around to actually show that. When we say characters, yeah, there's a lot of things going on here. When we say characters, each character. Here we have Alvar, the hero, right? They're being defined by sort of linguistic traits and what the behavioral traits. So in the story, they're gonna say things that sort of seems like a character. They're gonna have the same kind of behavior. So they're gonna be distinct personalities. If we say Torsten, for example, right? Torsten, apart from being a graphical element, he's very different from the rest of them. He doesn't speak a lot. The others speak all the time. So here we sort of have our picture, and we have, well, basically just Alvan's and the Lancer of the group. So it's not actually a very interesting picture, but there at least we have it, the general idea of it. Um, it would be great to have a discussion. What can this kind of story do, and how can we improve upon it to be something truly remarkable?